You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AFTERBUZZ TV for Scouted. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Scouted news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AFTERBUZZ TV for Scouted.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome. We have no model beats, but we have all the show we need with my hot co-hosts live in the LA studio. And most importantly, thanks to Twitter and Kendra Kabasele, we have Scott Lips, founder and CEO and star on Scouted, joining us shortly for a live interview. So excited. Ladies, I want to see some energy in that studio.
You mean you don't see it right now? You don't see this just buzzing off the walls?
Yeah, excitement.
We're missing our beats.
I see the buzz.
Our model
I see the buzz. Let me introduce these gorgeous ladies who I as well am watching on Ustream, as I am your host, Jackie Miranne, calling in from the East Coast. We have Kristen Carney, writer, comedian, host, what is it? Sweat the Small Stuff with Kristen.com.
You got it.
Correct?
You got it.
And we are so excited to have you back. And Kendra Kabasele, kendraskabasele.com. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And we are so happy, Kendra, that you are Twitter happy and that you connected with Scott Lips, because that's awesome.
Yeah,
Love your Twittering skills.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, partly his doing. He's great. He's down to earth, and I'm happy that he'll be joining us.
Yeah, he seems like a really hardworking, smart, industry vet, and we'll definitely get all of the info we can out of him. So aspiring models, Scouted fans, listen up. And let me not forget to introduce Miss Brittany Brower, America's Next Top Model All-Star.
Little old me, no.
I'm sure that doesn't happen
often. BrittanyBrowerModels.com.
Hey. Just go to
Little
BrittanyBrower.com.
little old 6 foot you, right?
Oh, little old tiny, little itty bitty me, with just a little tiny personality as well. Yes. Happy to be
just
here.
for everybody's reference, Brittany texted me a picture of her dinner, and it was a box of Altoids.
Oh, it was great. I'm stuffed.
That's a model's life.
Little
And we'll have to ask Scott about that one. And let me not forget Gabrielle Loren, who will be joining us shortly in the studio, but is also on the line currently. Welcome, Gabby.
Gabby's just so thin you can't see her.
Yeah. From so your favorite network, and I'm coming to the studio to join on this conversation. Well, it is certainly our favorite network, and we love, for all of our listeners, know that Gabby works at E, so we are going to pump her for some inside scoop at all times, whatever you can give us, Gabby.
Oh, you know it.
We love it. Well, what a great group. I can't wait to have Scott Lips live on our show tonight. Until then, though, there was a show to talk about, and it involved Nicole and Amber. And, each week we see 2 new models, ladies, and see their stories and get a little history as to what the Scouts are looking for. 2 very different girls on last night's episode, but I thought it was interesting before we get to them. They had a quick conversation from Julia, Danny, and Barry, had a conversation about what they're looking for in the models, and I thought it was interesting that they said they want cool personalities, not girls that are vacant. They named Lara Stone, Chanel Iman. And I thought that was pretty interesting because with all of the hanger models out there, so to speak, is what they call them, the runway models that seem to have no personality, I thought it was interesting to hear them say that that's what they were looking for. So what did you make of that? And Brittany, I know you know how things change within the industry and what they're looking for. Do you think that's true? You think that's what the main thing is personality?
I mean, I wish that were the case, that it was all about personality, but I don't think that is the case at all. I think they might say that to promote that they're, in the modeling industry, we do want you to have a good personality. We do want you to be all that. And a great personality is always an extra bonus to any model. Yes, it is definitely great because it can actually help them, if it's down to two models and one has a zero personality or kind of a pain to work with, and you have one that's outgoing and kind of makes it more pleasant. I'm sure the one that with more personality will get the job, but does it come down to personality as whether you'll get signed or not? I mean, usually they're just really happy if you're wearing that size, 1, 0, 2.
If it were all based off personality, Rosie O'Donnell would be like the biggest, supermodel of all time.
Right. I mean, it's not always I would love that. I think that I wouldn't have such a negative, sometimes a negative outlook on the modeling industry if it was more about personality and more about the character of the person. I mean, a lot of them are walking hangers on a runway. Yeah. And I think the final thing is a client just wants their clothing or their makeup or their hair company or whatever to just really, at the end of the day, just who looks best.
Are we talking about models that become personalities within the showbiz industry? The ones that have the big personality, are they going to make it to the top?
Those are usually the ones that become more of that it model. Yeah. Because, there is a personality that goes along with it. Can
you categorize that more of a supermodel? Those are the girls who have the personalities?
Right. Even Naomi Campbell, I mean, she's got a huge personality. Doesn't mean it's a good personality. She just made a big, she just made a big impact on the modeling world with her really outrageous, very, aggressive personality, but at least it made something of herself. So it's not always...
Well, I think maybe the fact that they're even looking for a personality is, it's partly due to the fact that now celebrities are kind of taking over the market in terms of magazine covers, et cetera, and they already have their personality. Mm-hmm. So maybe now they're recruiting models, to steer it back in that direction.
I just really feel, and this is a great thing I'd love to talk to Scott about, I actually feel that, the modeling industry is nothing like what it was in the heyday, as you call it, like the Cindy Crawfords and Chrissy Turlington, and, those are the models that was the 90s model. Right. They were super models.
Right, which is exactly why Nicole in this episode probably didn't get signed, because she looked to me like the 90s gorgeous.
Which I love. I've been saying forever, let's get back to that. Let's get back to beauty. And I love even in the episode when Scott said, well, what's wrong with commercial? Stop, don't use that in a negative way. There's nothing wrong with being commercial. Commercial girls will take home the paycheck.
Right.
A lot of editorials and things that people don't realize, it looks great in fashion. It's very high fashion. It's very Italian Vogue. But it doesn't pay if you book a campaign for Gardenia or just a big campaign for other definitely bigger lines, but what a commercial model will make, they make more money.
I love you ladies right now because I thought I was the only one. I have always been a promoter of personally my own brand and just girls in general. I want to see the full package, and I've been a pioneer to little old me to try and get back to that 90s supermodel personality, healthy look. And that's why I love Nicole. And I did love that you called that out, Brittany, that Scott said that about commercial girls, because it's kind of like the unknown thing in the industry that they're the ones who either go on to become actresses, go on to become celebrities, or make the paychecks at the end of the day. And I love that we saw someone like Nicole who represents that. What I didn't love is that even though Scott mentioned that, he didn't choose her. And I have to think, let's get into the two models of the night. Nicole was my favorite. She wanted it. She knows about the modeling industry. You could tell she has a drive for it, unlike Amber, who's young, has no idea, got picked up in the mall.
Never even thought of it before. No, right.
Well, Nicole is the one I was absolutely rooting for. And, my only disappointment was at the end of the episode, she didn't get chosen. But what did you guys make of Nicole and her time on the show? Because I think she made a few mistakes, one being she was not upfront at first about her daughter. She should never question being proud of that beautiful daughter, aptly named Bella. And two, she did freeze up on camera in the beginning of her shoot, and I think those two things combined
definitely
cost her.
Well, I don't think necessarily the child thing did, because as far as one management, no, they didn't know. As far as we think on the show, they didn't know about that. Like, she kind of held that back at first, but I don't think she held it back in a ridiculously like, whoa, I can't believe you have a kid like that long of a time. I mean, she just been met up and got scouted, and then they took a few pictures, and then she came out with it. So I don't really feel that she held out. It's not like she went to New York, possibly got signed with one management, or was down to the moment to get signed with one management, and then she said, you know what, I think I should tell you guys I have a kid, by the way. I mean, I think she's just nervous because she had her child so young, and she's been criticized by it in the past, but I don't think her timing was too off on that, and I don't think it affected their decision. I don't know. I was a huge fan of Nicole. I was really rooting for her. I loved her. I thought she was sweet. She's gorgeous, great body. Like, why not? Why isn't that girl booking big things?
Someone like Nicole, if you took my brother who wears a baseball cap, who has holes in his socks, he knows nothing of like style and fashion, you put him next to Amber, he would have no idea that Amber's a model. And all these models don't seem to appeal to men anymore unless you're in like a men's magazine for swimwear or something like that. Right. And it's like a change of the time. Hipsters right now are huge. It's that skinny, emaciated, like artsy, I'm depressed kind of look. Yeah. And
thanks a lot, Kate Moss, for ruining the 90s. Thanks a lot. Bravo.
And it's just interesting because so many of the people that would buy magazines geared toward men aren't really being focused on right now. They're the consumers, and they really are overlooked because Nicole's a hottie hot.
She's beautiful, and she's naturally, when she took that makeup off and they did the shoot with no makeup on, I was jealous.
Yeah,
I was like,
pretty.
Oh my gosh, hello, you look stunning with no makeup on.
But that is commercial, what you're talking about, and yes, she would do very well with commercial work. But my thing is one management is based in New York, and they kept bringing up, well, we're not doing commercial here. Do they not support their models going outside into the commercial world in other states? Because I know they brought up Miami and all these other locations.
All these other markets.
Yeah, is one management not focused on that market?
One management is certainly not focused on introducing Gabrielle Loren. Ladies and gentlemen.
I made it. I'm in the studio finally.
We just sprinkled some fairy dust and she appeared.
You can't deny she wasn't there, and now she is. And we are so happy to have you because we are going to pump you for some Inside Scoop Girl. But other than that, I also love that beautiful face and that opinion. So keep going with that point because I want to get to answer that one.
Well, can you please answer that? Because I don't know. I was on their website actually today, and most of the girls seemed a little more runway, New York fashion type as opposed to commercial.
I think the answer to that is, and I think, Brittany, you could probably agree, there's different levels of commercial, and that's what bothers me is they were saying she's not New York commercial, because what's happening is those girls who start out like an Amber or, on the runways, they're kind of taking the commercial jobs now, and that's what they call New York commercial, is the girls that are edgy but still normal looking or, that typical look enough to go into the commercial, like girls like Tiu Kuik, who was on the runways, then she's in Neiman Marcus ads. There's New York commercial standards and then commercial standards, which are the names you never really hear unless they become an actress or a personality. But there's different levels of commercial, and I think that's what happened is they were saying she's not New York commercial, which code for she's too normal and too pretty.
Yes, someone like Nicole, she named her kid Bella, right? Mm-hmm. I just feel like naming your kid Bella sometimes is a risk. Like, if you're kind of ugly and then you name your kid Bella, like, oh, really awkward to have like an ugly kid named Bella. But like, she can get away with that and know for sure that her kid will be gorgeous. And go ahead with the Bella name because she's so pretty. I mean,
the
like,
daughter
if
was
I could
gorgeous.
Yeah, they even said that. They were like, sign her up, pretty much.
Yeah.
In the office.
They were eating her up. Yeah.
They loved her.
Jackie,
I wouldn't be shocked if she's in an ad very soon. Because
I know.
She is gorgeous, but
Jackie,
I just want to correct Brittany. I think it wasn't necessarily the timing of her telling anybody that she had a child. What I kind of meant about her child costing her, as sad as it is. We're going to have to ask Scott about this, but when we ask about deal breakers, I think knowing she was 22, knowing she has a kid and doesn't live in New York, I think that was a deal breaker for her. And
but
that's
I don't know. I have to say that people will judge you on that. Jackie, but I honestly think that you could see her character and you could see that she was dedicated and she had the family support to watch her child in the beginning. She even mentioned that she could move to New York and leave Bella with the family. Where was she from?
Yeah, but at an open call, Brittany, what do you think? Do you think that would fly?
I see both sides. I can see where, I'm not sure about this yet either. Is this how every episode's going to be where one girl makes it and one girl doesn't? Because I don't agree with that at all. I think that any agency, if they like two girls, and clearly these are two separate girls. These are not girls. I know how agencies will sometimes only take one out of two if the girls are very similar and they'd be competing for the same job. Then maybe they would have two separate, they would take one girl over the other. But these girls are obviously extremely different. So I don't understand, is this how every episode's going to be where one girl makes it but one girl doesn't?
That's a good question to ask Scott,
It's almost like filling a quota.
That's what we should ask.
Because I don't like that. Because I think that, and then, so about the child thing, I mean, I think that if you have a great vibe from a girl and you see that she's really dedicated and she has got a strong support system with her family, which of course she does, I mean, I don't really see a high risk. I could see if it was, I'm a single mom, I live alone in San Francisco, my friends help me when they can, that kind of situation, little sticky, maybe, but as far as her, I don't know. I think I'm just bummed they didn't take her. I think she'll definitely get signed somewhere else. She already said that in the last part that she was working and she has booked jobs because I think she's just a very beautiful, natural girl, great body. She is dedicated. And I think that because she had to grow up so early and have a child at 17, she's really would not go into this and probably do what I did, go out just party all the time. She actually would go in this and actually work and have fun with, really, really go for it because she's had to be an adult at such an early age. So I was really rooting for her.
They called that out too in the episode. They said, "Oh, she has a kid. She's experienced life."
Right.
And they're talking about getting personality.
I thought she was going to get signed because they were all kind of when she got to one management, they kind of liked the fact that she had a kid. They're like, and when they met her, like, wow. And
I do wish they did a little bit more for her in the prep of doing the photo shoot because I think they could have made her look a little edgier. I know she has such a gorgeous look, but
I thought they were going to make her
hair and gave her chunky bangs.
I thought she looked like Cindy Crawford at one point when they put
did.
She had a lot of Cindy Crawford in it, but too bad that's not
why
in anymore.
they weren't happy with it. I think.
But I think if they did edge her out a little bit more, they could have had the vision. I mean, they know what they're doing, but I feel like the vision could have been there.
I thought that when I saw them do her hair. And I thought it still looked very pretty. I really thought, because when I was watching it, I was like, oh, they got to change her hair. Because she had that normal, just long, thick hair. It's pretty hair. But because she's so pretty and perfect, I knew that wasn't going to fly in New York. It needed to be a little quirky. Right. They needed to do something to her. They got to edge her out. So I thought they were really going to maybe do some shorter hair, make it very kind of spiky, maybe make it darker, make her eyes pop a little more. I
was really rooting for her. I feel like they didn't do enough. Kendra, what did you think of Nicole?
Well, it's funny that Brittany mentioned, is it always going to be one winner, one loser? Because I was sitting there convinced after Amber was signed that we were going to hear that, Nicole
I thought they were both going to
get
get signed because I liked both girls on this episode. Right. One, you can tell they're complete opposites. One girl had very young, starting out, had no clue that she was even pretty. So she's kind of coming into her own, and I like that. And she had a good attitude about it. She got on that plane without her mom, which we'll get to that. That's a little weird.
Her parents were weird.
Yeah, parents were a little cuckoo. I'm going to have a panic attack, but sure, put my 15-year-old daughter on a plane.
I'm worried about myself.
I'm kind of freaking out. Yeah. You're fine, honey. I'll see you when you get back. Get in there.
Mommy needs her meds.
Mama's a little panicked. No, weird.
Kendra, I think we're going to have to ask Scott when he gets on about the whole taking one girl or two girls thing because I wonder how the formula works, but we're definitely going to have to get to that when Scott gets on. And before he does join us, ladies, let's talk about Amber for a few seconds because I am going to ask him about his choice with Amber too because she knew nothing about the industry. She knew, okay, I see their point. She's come a long way in a couple of days. But I don't think she really went a long way. I'm going to be honest.
I agree, actually. I'm totally with you.
Did you guys see how when she was shooting, how slow, weird, her moves were very awkward?
They were like,
but I give her a little kind of it was just very awkward, very slow. I remember when she did a spin at one point, and I thought we were going to time the spin to see how many minutes it took.
60 seconds.
She's kind of like, to her defense, she kept giving the disclaimers that she's never modeled.
I do have to say the difference between someone like her and Valentine's super young, bad attitude. Amber had a great attitude.
She did.
She really was like,
she did.
She said, after the shoot, she's like, I want to do cartwheels.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of, she didn't, she admitted she didn't know much about the industry and everything. She doesn't read up on it. But the enthusiasm was there, and like the sparkle in the eye came out.
Yeah.
So I did
liked
root
her
for
pictures.
Amber.
I thought she looked pretty.
Yeah.
But then
I think
again,
she's
now we're
interesting
talking
looking.
about personality.
Well, because it definitely does play a part.
It does play a part, but a minor part in comparison to everything. But what I'm questioning is, this girl didn't have much experience. Do people like One Management sign girls with like that much, little experience?
Well, you got to start somewhere, and at the end of the day, even
but
if
do
she
they
was
sign
awkward
you
on
right
set,
away like that?
Yeah, they will. I mean, they'll train you. They sculpt you. They'll test you a few more times, get photos, and then they'll just send you out. And it's all about growth in that period. I mean, if someone just stays at her level and she stays with them maybe for a year, and it's still that really awkward, then obviously that's when they would go ahead and drop a client or a girl. If you can't show growth and improvement.
Well, that's what I was just going to say is the thing about being an agency, it's great to be an agency because you really don't have much risk besides what you decide to invest in a girl. And the beauty of it is, and I don't know if this has changed, but when it was come time for me to sign contracts and be in that industry, models have much more to lose. The agency usually tends to have the ability to get out of any girl at any time, and she's 16. So they spend a summer developing her. They have plenty of time to figure out if she'll make it or break it. And if she doesn't, they can just easily say thank you, but no thank you, just as easily as they said no on the show to Nicole. I mean, a contract means a lot more for holding on to a model than it does for a model to have anything to hold on to an agency for it. And that's the beauty of being able to see a 16-year-old, skinny, fits clothes, and send her off to London and see what happens.
Right.
I just wish they would have went for the girl who seemed to want it more. I don't know, ladies. What did you all think? Kendra, Gabby, and Kristen?
Well, I was just going to say it may be a case of, when they say they don't take them the first time, maybe she'll get some work in and they'll revisit her contract.
Well, if we're talking, if we're talking about having no experience or having too much experience, not that.
Hey guys, not to cut you off, but why don't we go to commercial and come back with Scott because he looks like he's ready.
Okay. Woohoo! Won't say no to that.
Let's go to a quick commercial then. I can't wait.
AfterBuzz TV. Hi, I was once like you, a lazy, angry loner whose only joy was watching TV and surfing the net. And, like you, after I'd see one of my favorite TV shows, I'd be so excited and have so many questions that I'd actually have to talk to my douchebag coworkers about it at the water cooler. Then I discovered AfterBuzzTV.com. AfterBuzz TV produces after-show webcasts and podcasts for TV series of all kinds, like post-game wrap-up shows for all your favorite TV shows. AfterBuzz TV hosts are industry insiders who break down episodes of shows, take calls from fans, and interview cast and crew from each series, with over 60 different after shows, from Boardwalk Empire to American Idol to Vampire Diaries to Real Housewives, and more. Now, after a night of TV, I can ignore my stupid coworkers, who I hate, and go straight to my desk and watch or listen to all my favorite AfterBuzz TV after shows, and have all the TV fan interaction I need. Thank you, AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
Woo!
Well, listen up, aspiring models, because Scouted star, CEO, founder, best supermodel maker in the business for over a decade, Scott Lips from One Management joins us live. Scott, we are so excited to have you on AfterBuzz TV.
Hey guys, I'm excited to be here. How you doing?
Hi, we're doing great.
So there's 4 or 5 of you in the studio there.
4 and 1 on the line.
Too bad we don't have
4
Skype.
in the studio.
Okay. I got to get Skype, but I don't have Skype on a BlackBerry yet. Otherwise, that would have worked out really well.
Oh, that would be fun.
I know, and
That's
you are a
Blackberry's fault.
social media expert. We know from your blog,
I'm a
Top Flip.
social media expert.
You are
I
an
just
expert
left one
in
party and I'm on the way to another party as we speak, but I'm taking some time out to call all you guys.
So jealous.
Well, certainly you are a multitasker, and that's why you are the success that you are. But what I think is amazing is anybody who knows you knows that you are just, they call you, I think, chill. You know, down to earth, cool Scott Lips. And meanwhile, you're hanging out with the supermodels that you made legends, rock stars. You're a drummer, you're a blogger, you're a decade of supermodels. How do you do this all and remain so cool?
What was the question? Sorry. Sorry, I'm in a car, so I'm like trying to get to where I'm going. But I'm also, what was the last thing you said?
Well, I love that you come off on Scouted as such a down-to-earth guy for everything that you do.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you. Well, I think it's important to, you got to be down to earth because, you know, it's about being relatable. At the end of the day, people, I don't think, you know, we're not curing anything here. It's fashion, and ultimately it's about being level-headed. So it's really important for us to sort of just remember who we are. And I think when you meet people and they're cool, it makes you like them more when they're talented and, you know, versus having some huge head. So
Absolutely.
never wanted to be that person for sure. So.
Well, that's for sure. And I love that you are stepping out into the spotlight a little bit with Scouted. And I think, you know, we see just a little bit of what you actually do in a day. But, you know, I know you have so much insight as someone who decides who's big in this industry and who's not. I think the number one question for every girl out there, the reason we love Scouted is there's so many of us wondering how to get a start in this industry. And I think what's cool about Scouted is it shows that starting point. And what is your kind of key advice to any girl who, whether they think it's easy or they don't know what you're looking for, what is that ultimate advice to get started in the industry?
I think it's about being with people you trust, and ultimately you have to work with people that have a great reputation. There's not 25 good agencies in the business. There's probably a handful of them in New York, especially. And it's about getting really sound advice, and I think the advice that we're giving on the show is real. And I think that's one of the things I really like about the show versus some of the other shows that have been out there, is that you're talking to people that have multiple years experience in the business and are really, really trying to give it to, you know, the public sort of as it is, and we're not trying to sugarcoat it, and yet we're not trying to tear people apart or sort of be, you know, salacious. We're trying to be really real and honest and nice. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with delivering news to someone if you're not going to work with them in a nice fashion where they feel good. I mean, nobody wants anyone to walk away from, you know, feeling bad about themselves. And so we're trying to deliver the news in a fashion that makes sense, and people have feelings. They're human beings at the end of the day too. I always remember that. I remember when I'm dealing with kids that they are kids, and so, you know, I never want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to crush anybody's dreams. I want to be realistic, but ultimately I want everyone to walk away from the show learning something. If we're not signing them, that hopefully they can better themselves and you know, and be successful in this business, because I always believe that people get a shot at some point in time in the business if you work really hard. And that's one of the things I think that I said.
And now, Scott, being that we see Scouted every week on Monday, you bring in two different models. Both have very different looks. What would you say are the physical characteristics and features that you are looking for and that modeling industry is in demand for at the present time?
I think, you know, we're looking for faces that are symmetrical. We're looking for beautiful people that really have a timeless kind of quality about them. I mean, I love Christy Turlington. I love people that just have a sense of like a timeless beauty to them. And so, you know, I think we've never been an agency that signed really, really super edgy girls. Ultimately, I think, you know, what we do understand really well is beauty. So, you know, we're looking for girls that are going to last more than one season. I think for us to have girls that are going to last for 2 seasons and be gone, that's not really what one has ever been about. I think we're always about finding the next face of fashion that's going to last for years and years. There's a new girl we have this season named Carola Lemmer that's doing really well, and she's exotic, but she's really beautiful, and ultimately she has a timeless beauty to me that's going to last for years and years, and she's on the cover of German Vogue, and different Vogues that are out right now.
And does that look change from year to year? Like, would you say 20 years ago what you were looking for was different than what you're looking for now? Hello? Did we lose him?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
No.
It's saying he's still on the line.
Really? Maybe he doesn't have service in that New York City cab.
We just lost him.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, I'll try to get him back on the line. Jackie, carry us forward, and I'll get him back up.
Well, this is really funny because I can't wait to get him back on because I can't wait to ask him. Then why
About
didn't
Nicole?
Nicole?
Yeah,
what he's
'cause she's
talking about,
edgy.
it sounds like he's
Or, oh, you mean
exactly.
commercial.
No, it sounds like he's exactly describing someone like Nicole. You know,
Yeah,
beautiful,
true.
timeless. I think her beauty is definitely timeless, whereas. Amber is kind of that edgier, very, you know.
Which he
when
said
you
he
see
wouldn't
her,
sign, which I was surprised about.
Right, when you see Amber, you don't look at her and think, oh, she's a model.
Right.
Like,
Who
you
we've
think of
seen-
her as that more edgier kind of, you know,
What
editorial.
we've seen so far has definitely been a little bit edgier looking. So I'm interested to see that, you know, again,
I want to ask him that. Well, then why not Nicole?
Right.
You know, you guys,
Give
I
us a
think
scoop.
we actually lost Jackie too, I think, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
They'll call us back.
Jackie, I'm just going to run this show for you now.
Guys, I called back.
All right, we have
Oh,
Scott.
there we go.
Yay! Well, I was just asking you. I'm sorry, you can go next, Brittany. But
And
I
here's Jackie as well. So we
I
have
just
both.
wanted to know, based on what you just said, does what you're looking for, has it changed from 20 years ago?
I mean, we represent a lot of those sort of iconic girls. You know, we represent Claudia Schiffer, Helena Christensen, Ava Herzegovina, Amon, Devon Aoki, Bridget Hall. So, I mean, I love that kind of beauty. I love classic, timeless beauty, and I think every season there's a new look. I mean, lately there's been sort of an androgynous. I think his name is Andre J. Is that his last name? The guy that kind of models for men and women. There's all kinds of trends that happen in the business, but ultimately for us, I mean, we're definitely looking for, that classic timeless beauty that's not going to last for 2 seasons. So every single season, you're going to have different trends. There's a short hair trend, there's a long hair trend, there's a blonde trend, there's a Brazilian trend, there's a Russian trend, whatever it may be. But I don't know, I think we always kind of go back to those girls that that seem to really stand the test of time and that are going to last more than, doing one show for a very trendy designer and then you never see them again.
Well, maybe you can tell us then, we were all talking before how we agreed that Nicole we thought was that kind of beauty, that timeless beauty from this, last night's episode. Gorgeous, great features, then very driven.
It's funny you said that. I don't mean to interrupt you, but when I watched the show last night, because I hadn't seen the show last night until it aired, I was thinking the same thing, but it was a moment. I mean, I think that Nicole is really beautiful. I think that last night I saw how she was captured on video. She really, really transforms incredibly well to film, even more so than I thought than static pictures. And so
we need to call Nicole back.
I was like, what's that?
I said we need to call Nicole back.
We need to call Nicole back, right? When I watched the show last night, I was like, wow, Nicole's really beautiful. And I thought she was beautiful before. And in fact, I said to her on the show, I said, by the way, I think you're really, really beautiful. And I'm sincere when I say that. I just think that video really does well for her. And I think certain girls really are captured by, some girls are captured by still images, some girls by video. But, I think that maybe the pictures that I saw, it didn't hit home for me, and it's just a feeling. And a lot of times I think people ask us, why don't we sign people? It's something that you feel, and I know what my staff likes, I know who they respond to, and sometimes I can't really put my finger on it. There's no real
It's just not a good
reason,
fit
but
for your agency sometimes. It doesn't mean she's not going to be a great fit for someone else.
It doesn't mean some of these girls can't go on to model with other agencies.
Absolutely. Now tell me this, and when you're about to possibly sign a girl, has there ever been a moment, or is there anything that's absolutely a deal breaker that, oh, okay, she's doing this, or she has this kind of past? Is there ever a moment that if you find something out, you'll not sign her?
Not really. I mean, other than the fact that, and I think you've seen glimpses of this on the show already. I mean, people need to want it for us to want it for them. I mean, if someone doesn't have the desire to make it, sometimes it's difficult for us to have that desire for them. I mean, it's really important for a person to have drive and ambition because, I worked for free when I first started for a year. I was a driver, believe it or not. Everybody starts somewhere. I was a musician, and then I actually drove people around for a few months or almost a year. And I think that you have to persevere. And there was a great 60-minute piece on Michael Bublé this weekend where he was playing like bar mitzvahs and weddings at the subway, wherever it was, and it took him like 12 or 13 years to make it. But, you know, he stuck it out. And there's a lot of guys that are talented that don't stick it out and they don't make it. So you have to have that drive. And if you don't have that drive, it's very hard for the agency to have that for you. So
I wish it worked
that
way.
If I meet girls and they're like blah and they don't really seem like they're that interested in doing this, well, that could be a deal breaker, because ultimately, like, we're not going to feel that if you don't feel it.
Absolutely.
How do you think someone at the age of 16 or 15 knows that they really, truly want this, because they change so much as they grow up? How do you get that sense from someone who's just a teenager that they really, really want to do this?
You know, we meet girls that are 15 that are very mature, and some girls really know what they want. I mean, when I was 8 years old, I decided I wanted to be a musician, and guess what? That's what I did, you know. But, I mean, not everyone is that fortunate to know that, and sometimes you don't discover what you want to do until you're in your late 20s. But I think a lot of times, you know, you can tell someone that kind of has a passion for this business. I mean, you know, early on in one of the episodes, you know, we had references to Hannah Holman and blogs, and some of the girls that came on the show were, you know, they were referencing amazing photographers and stylists and stuff that really blew us away. And these are girls that are 15, that they're reading all the fashion magazines, and it's important that people educate themselves about the business, if this is the business you want to be in. So I think, I don't know, I think sometimes, you know, you do have that passion and drive when you're young, and sometimes you don't. But I think it's important for us to know that you want to do this, because there's so many girls that want to be in this business that, again, going back to that same point, like, my staff is going to know if you're not really into this. Mm-hmm. So it's important that if you're going to try to do this, at least try and do it to your fullest ability and see if you can take it far.
Now, do you ever take it upon yourself when you're, just say, walking down the streets of New York? I know there's people out there scouting and doing that and bringing them into the agency, but do you ever see a girl who's really, really special and stop in your tracks and actually invite her into your management?
Yeah, I mean, years ago, I always tell this story, but I went up to this girl in the Jamba Juice in Santa Monica, and it was a girl that became a very famous stylist, Lauren Santo Domingo. She worked at American Vogue and everything, and she was a model for a little bit. And her first job was opposite Brad Pitt in a jeans, I think it was Edwin Jeans for Japan, as a TV commercial, and she became a very famous stylist after that. But the problem with New York is that when you go up to people in New York, they're already models. So like 99% of the people you would discover in the street in New York, if they look like a model, they're a model. So I think that if you find someone in Idaho, they're not a model usually. But New York is difficult because it's that kind of city that if someone looks like it, they're probably doing it already.
Right.
Well, getting back to Scouted and the girls who don't make it, we talked about this last week. We were excited to think of the idea of having follow-up shows. Do you think that's something that Scouted is going to produce?
Yeah, I mean, I think the stories of what happens with everyone, you know, once they're signed is really important. And I think you're only seeing, you know, the beginning of the process. So it's really important to tell the story when Kelsey's in New York now, and, you know, we're testing her like crazy, and we're getting the right images, and she's getting out to see people. I mean, that's a whole part of the process that no one's getting to see yet, but I really hope they do, because it's a huge part of the process.
Heck yeah, that's a fun part. We want to see that part too. We're greedy. We want to see it all.
Listen, I'm happy to show it all to you guys, so it's all cool with me. I hope you guys get to see all of it. So
definitely.
Well, I saw Kelsey on your blog, actually, Scott. What's that?
Yeah. That's Scouted Part 2. Right?
Yeah, exactly. We need the spin-off. So, E, if you're listening, although I have a feeling you have some pull, Scott, but we saw Kelsey on your blog on poplips.com, which, by the way, everyone, you obviously have the most exciting lifestyle, and it's named one of the best fashion blogs on Tumblr. But what is the power of social media play nowadays as a model? Like, you can't just walk in and take a great picture. I feel like you have to do so much more and tap into all these different avenues in the industry now. I see with your blog, you're promoting your models. Do models today have to go about it a little differently as far as social media?
I think it's really important to understand social media. I mean, I'm huge in that space just because I think girls need to know what branding means. And I have meetings all the time with makeup companies and fragrance companies that sign people based on their Twitter followers. So they're more apt to sign a model if she has 300,000 followers than a girl who has 2. And so the reason why I started Pop Lips was just because it seemed like it was a great way to promote the girls. And, building brands. And so, certain girls, and I go back with Carola because she's like one of the girls in the moment. I started getting her pictures out virally, and certain photographers would shoot her, and they go on their blogs. And next thing you know, you have a very, very big designer that picked up on her, and she's walking down the runway for him. And next thing you know, she's in different ad campaigns. So it's part of the process now, and it's a really interesting part of how to market people. And I'm super, super thankful that people responded to the blog. I mean, I have my camera with me now. It's just taking pictures. I just left the party. I was shooting Jeremy Scott, the designer, but I don't like to be, really in people's faces with it. So for me, I try and shoot people who want their pictures taken, and I really don't like to do it unless I feel like people want the exposure. So I'm a little bit shy about it still, which is kind of funny because I don't like to whip out the camera everywhere I go. But if during the day at the agency, the girls come in and it's easy to shoot them. And so yeah, Kelsey came in and I shot some pictures of her, and it was great. And I actually really liked the pictures. And the pictures have been published now in Spanish Vogue and some other Vogues, and it's been really flattering. It's been great. I mean, I don't know how to turn the flash on barely on my camera, so the fact that a Vogue would publish the pictures is really amazing to me.
Well, I think social media is something that actually is now helping maybe models become supermodels again. Because, Scott, I wanted to ask you, I mean, do you think how much different now is it as opposed to the 90s with the supermodel, the Cindy Crawfords out there that were on every magazine cover, and now it's mostly celebrities on every magazine cover? It's kind of like they've taken over the modeling industry.
It's mostly celebrities, but if you look at Victoria's Secrets, and obviously they're really into branding girls, and I think that's huge.
It's all about branding.
And you do have, and so you do have that still happening. I mean, you have a lot of those girls now that are crossing over. You have Doutzen, you have Miranda Kerr, you have, Isabella. I mean, there's girls that are really branding their names, and Heidi is a great example of, a model that was doing more commercial work, and she used television to reach millions of people, and, she's the ultimate sort of branded model at this point. So I love her career path, and I think, once you become a Heidi Klum, you're a celebrity at that point. You're not just a big model. So
absolutely.
A lot of the brand names we work with are celebrities too. So I just think, it depends. But I mean, I think there's a trend that's, I hope is going to happen in using models getting on covers. And I've had the discussion with certain magazines, and it seems like, I mean, you always have, sort of tastemaker magazines like V that always will use models in addition to celebrities. But I think it all depends on the sales. If people buy the magazines with models, and they're going to print them. So it's just a question of people responding to them too. But I think it could definitely come back that way.
Now Scott, Michael Flutie, you know him well, creator of Scouted, has said that this docuseries is more realistic than some of the other reality shows out there, like Top Model or the other shows. Is that one of the reasons that you jumped on board?
Yeah, I jumped on board really because I've had a mutual respect with Michael for years, and Michael and I have been friendly, and he really understands what I do. I mean, he had company models before I had one, and company was sort of like in a sort of shape and feel of one before one. So, I mean, he had Frankie Rader and Missy Rader, and I know years ago I worked with Cindy Crawford, and he gets it, and he gets what I've been working on and working, towards for years. So I trust him, and I think it's all about a trust factor. I like Michael a lot. I think he knows what's up, and ultimately you got to work with and trust people. And you know what? I'm really happy with the way the show came out. The response from the public, from you guys, from everyone has been incredible, and I'm thankful that people are tuning in.
Yeah, I think it's great. I like watching the process of, like people actually out there seeing that this is how real models start. It's not, I was on Top Model, so it's not just, going to an audition and then trying out for Top Model, and that was definitely not realistic modeling at that point.
I just left Kelly Catrone, who's one of the new judges on Top Model.
Oh,
actually,
hey, Kelly.
Scott, I just had a quick question regarding Valentine. I know, I just was curious how realistic that type of situation would be, where a model would be so picky during a test shoot. Is that something that you normally see at One Management?
I mean, I don't think it happens that much with us, because ultimately if we sign the girl already, we saw something in her. So you're looking at a process that's starting before the girl's even signed. So, I don't really go to that many test shoots of girls that haven't been signed yet, because at that point that's still sort of testing the waters with them. But I mean, with the girls we work with, if we sign them already, generally speaking, they're going to try and do their best to make sure we're happy.
Okay. I was just curious. Thanks.
You know, Scott, you're leaving Kelly Catrone. You're heading to another party.
I'm going to one of my Christmas parties with my company, actually.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Well, before you go, can you invite us to some parties? Or
That's what I'm saying. I was just about to say, Scott, I want to go out with you.
I'll be in New York next week, by the way. This is Gabrielle.
You guys can look me up, and I'll take you guys out in New York when you're here.
Definitely.
We're going to hold you to
All right,
that, because
well,
I'll be there in 3 weeks.
We love following you on Pop Lips, and obviously seeing Scouted every week. We, of course, talk about it for hours after. So anytime you want to call in or take us out.
Thank you. I watched your show before you invited me on it, so you should know that I checked it out.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for checking us out, Scott.
Do you sign girls at 5'4"?
Or 5'2"?
Well, you never know.
You never know.
That's all.
Big personalities in this room.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in and for calling us. And we'll let you go enjoy your next party, and call us any week if you have anything you want to share. We are here for you, and we'll look you up when we all hit New York.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, and I want to say thank you for everyone for tuning into the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we love it.
We do love it.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
Guys.
We're looking for Scouted Part 2.
Yes, Scouted Part 2.
Okay. All right, take care, guys.
Thanks,
Scott.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye, Mr. Lips.
Thanks, Scott.
Am I the only
Oh, my
one?
God. Well, I could let him go on all night long, but
How
he's
great
in
is
between
he?
Parties. He's hanging with
really
Kelly
nice.
Catrone.
Yeah.
He's so
He's
nice.
great.
Yeah.
He sounds such a really, truly,
Genuine.
down to
Genuine.
earth.
Although-
I'm speechless. I'm like,
If I were him, though, I want to know why he didn't name his blog Lip Service. I think that's
That's
so cute.
really funny,
That's what I would name it,
actually.
Lip Service.
oh, I'm sure there's already a website with that, and it's not.
Two P's.
I'm sure
You've been on it. I know you
Lip
have.
Service is out there. How do you know I didn't create Lip Service?
I'm pretty sure you did.
I'm pretty sure I did too.
Well, I think what was most interesting about what he was saying is that they look for girls with kind of that timeless beauty and that staying power. And I'm really so glad that he said that about Nicole, because that made me feel really good that he saw that when he watched the episode back.
Because she did look good on camera.
Oh, yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She was
The
my favorite.
The
hands
camera
down.
loves her. If you're listening, Nicole, call us.
Have your eyebrows call me.
Yes.
I loved her eyebrows.
Oh, she had great eyebrows. And I loved her nose.
Yeah.
Oh, we
she
love
had a
you.
cute
Oh, we love
nose.
you,
We
Nicole.
just love you. All of a
If you
sudden, her
think about it,
child's
though,
missing.
guys,
It's like
that's
me that
how
has
the
her.
modeling industry goes, though, sometimes, and that's why he said to keep trying. And did you hear him say about Michael Bublé, how he went 12, 13 years going? You know, somebody called in last week and asked, you know, what do I do? When do I know when to stop, kind of thing. And I think we were saying your drive, as long as you have the drive and you feel like you're not hurting anybody else or yourself, you have to see anything that you want to achieve. You have to see it through. It may take a long time. He may have passed over Nicole, and look at him. He's seeing her back on TV where 100 other girls he may not get to see on TV, and he's rethinking his choice. So you never know.
That happens every day in this industry. I mean, people overlook people.
Oh, well, hello, Lady Gaga. She was dropped by Def Jam and then picked up by another record label, I think Interscope. But they probably regret their decision till this day.
Oh, I'm sure. Hello.
Oh, my God, 100%. She was dropped. And this is what Marry the Night is about. Her getting dropped from Def Jam, her new video.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens all the time. And so
showbiz is just such a numbers game. Like, if you think about it, if 5 people go in and only 4 can hold, or if only 1 can hold up, you're gonna be the last man standing.
Yeah.
You know,
But
unless
you know
the time
what?
ticks too fast and you're 38 and you're still standing, and they're like, no, go sit.
I'm going to be a little motivational right now. If you see yourself as a model, you see yourself doing what you want to do, it's going to happen. Like, all you need to be is positive, study, and do it. And you'll get there.
And don't take no for an answer.
And don't eat.
And don't eat.
I'm just kidding.
No,
Yeah.
but
And get a
honestly,
psychiatrist.
Yes.
Get a psychiatrist now. I
Well,
recommend
you
it.
know, I totally agree, Gabby, and I think to add to that, even if you don't become the next Kate Moss and you are Nicole, having a beautiful life with your daughter and going to Neiman Marcus shoots here and there and booking from San Francisco, find success in your own level too, because you don't have to become Kate Moss to be, consider yourself a success in the modeling
You're
industry.
living and working. That is success.
Yeah, comparing yourself to other people is really doing yourself just like a huge disservice. You know, I mean, because you're not, Nicole is not Amber, Amber's not Nicole. If Amber wanted to do Neiman Marcus, Amber would be upset. You know, it's like You just have to be you.
Mm-hmm. Just be you.
I'm so lame.
Just be you. And now I hear predictions music. So is that my cue, Phil, that we have to get into predictions?
That is your cue, Jackie.
I believe so.
Okay, well, that creepy music means one thing. It's time to go. But before we do, we have to make some predictions because I saw identical twins, boyfriends and modeling, which don't mix according to the Model Scouts. So I think it looks like there's going to be some drama in a few different ways. What do you ladies predict for next week?
I love the twins one. I can't wait to see that storyline unfold. Didn't you feel for the girl so bad? She finally gets, she gets scouted on her own. And I would never have let it slip that I had a twin. Never. Yeah. I would have been like, no, it's just me. I'm an only child. Because you could see that they found out she was a twin.
Unless the twin was ugly. Unless the twin was really horrible looking.
The agency's like, what? What is this you speak of? There's two of you. Double the money, double the fun.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And poor little thing was like, I just wanted, this to be my thing. And that's what you get for being an identical twin. Sorry. You can't be a
Kendra,
solo
Gabby,
like all of
Kristen?
us.
Yeah, what do you guys think, for next week?
There's going to be some trouble, I guess, with that boyfriend who seems to kind of be holding the other girl back. But, I mean, he kind of says, you have to leave the nest at some point. Do you guys
got to leave the guys. You got to leave them.
I have to say, that's like a pet peeve of mine, like people holding you back. I am my own person. Like, I don't care if I have a boyfriend, if I'm married, what. Like, if I want to do something, I'm going to do it. Yeah. Do not let anyone hold you back. Otherwise, you're not
If it's something that you want.
You're not seeing it. Yeah, you're not seeing it. It's not going to happen. It's plain and simple.
I had a boyfriend that was a little bitter about my situation. Like, when I was modeling, he was model too. And when I got success, it would make him upset. And it just isn't a way to, you just have to drop that bad energy and go for something that you want to do. I mean,
that's not good for you.
Sorry.
No.
I'm going to the top.
We'll see but you know what? It's something for people to learn from by seeing this because this is real stuff. People in every life situation with career, whatever you're going for, that happens. So it's good for people to see because maybe they'll realize, oh, that's me, and they'll be able to get out of their little mode that they're in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, ladies. Well, I cannot wait for next week. I am so high right now, and I just mean not off of anything other than the fact that Scott Lips was just on our show.
I know.
Yes.
And
thanks again,
so I'm
Scott.
going to have to come down from that, and we'll see you all next week, same time, hopefully another celebrity guest, and we'll share our opinions, of course. Until then, follow us on Twitter, and we will see you next week.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.